Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari 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 Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarne. This watch is put here so I can see the time, but I can't see it if it's back to front and at such a distance. That's better. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, Chapter 4, Text 69. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Viprat Shat Punati Sakulang Natu Bhuri Manaha Vipradvishada Guna Yutadara Vindanabha Padara Vinda Vimukhat Swapachang Varish. It's better that the tutorial goes on, not in the class. Manyeta Darpita Mano Vachane Hitartha Pranang Punati Sakulang Natu Bhuri Manaha. This is needed for flies, so right now there are no flies, so you can relax. Someone else please chant. Vipradvishada Guna Yutadara Vindanabha Adara Vinda Vimukhat Svapachang Vishtam Manyeta Darpita Mano Vachane Hitartha Pranang Punati Sakulang Natu Bhuri Manaha Vipradvishad Guna Yutadara Vindanabha Padara Vinda Vimukhat Svapachang Varishtam Manyeta Darpita Mano Vachane Hitartha Pranang Punati Sakulam Natu Bhuri Manaha Vipradvishad Guna Yutadara Vindanabha Manyeta Darpita Mano. No? All right. Viprat Dana Brahmana Dvishat Guna Yutat, who has 12 Brahminical qualifications. Aravinda Nabha of Lord Vishnu, who has a lotus-like navel. Pada Aravinda unto the lotus feet. Vimukhat, than a person bereft of devotion. Shvapacham, a chandala, or a person accustomed to eating dogs. Varishtham, more glorified. Manye, I think. Tat, arpita, dedicated unto him. Manaha, mind. Vachana, words. Ihita, activities. Artha, wealth. Pranam, life. Punati, purifies. Saha, he. Kulam, his family. Natu, but not. Bhurimanaha, yeah, then the purport is simply to state that this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 10. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Shreshtham Nanamapi Shachiputramatra Sarupa Rupam Tasyagrajamarupurim Mathurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I chose to speak on this verse this morning, and you may wonder, as it's a Bhagavatam verse, which is quoted here, Krishna bhajan, for worshipping Krishna. And simply being born in a high family doesn't automatically make one fit for worshipping Krishna. Jai bhaje shri baro abhakta hino cha, Krishna bhajane nahi jat kuladi bicha. Whoever worships Krishna is great, and who doesn't is fallen and low. In the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling Sanatana Goswami said that in the matter of Krishna bhajan, there is no consideration of jat or kul, caste or family. Then he says, Dinere adhik daya kare bhagavan kulin pandit dhani bara abhiman. Those who are very low in the social consideration, dinere, Srila Prabhupada has given here, the humble, they get the mercy of Krishna. Bhagavan is very merciful to those, especially merciful, special mercy. Dinere adhikdaya. He's very merciful to those who are very low, consider themselves very humble. Those who are born in a very high family, who are pandit, which means learned in Vedic Shastra, and rich, such persons have bara abhiman. The tendency is there to have very great pride. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke this verse, Vipradvi Shardaguna Yutada Ravinda Naba Pada Ravinda, etc. Saying that if one is born in a very high family, but he doesn't worship Krishna, if he's a Brahmana, not just by birth, but qualified with all Brahminical qualities, he's still not fit to worship Krishna. No, sorry, it's not. It doesn't say that. It says that if he's not inclined to worship Krishna, he's not as qualified, he's not as advanced as someone who's born in a family of dog-eaters, means very low family, but who has offered his mind, words, and his wealth and his very life in the service of Krishna. So such a person is pure. This is from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Such a person is pure and can purify his family, whereas Brahmana, who's supposed to be very pure, can't even purify himself if he's not a worshipper of Krishna. In Pandit Dhani, Bara Abhiman, that reflects the Janmaishvarya Shuta Shribhir, Edamana Madav Puma, Naivarhatya Vidhatum Vai, Tvama Kinchana Gochara. Kunti Devi says to Krishna that generally people, and she may be referring to herself and her own family members, they're all born in a high family with wealth, very learned and intelligent and very beautiful and good looking, but these are usually disqualifications for serving Krishna because one tends to become proud. So this word abhimana is used in this Bengali section. There's one ant or something, is there? Just, huh?
No, nothing is there.
Nothing? Oh, okay. Feels like it. I have a little, that itching from the heat rush. So, this is the obstacle that stands in between us and Krishna. So, generally when it's for Krishna, for performing devotional service, this is what Krishna comes to give, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to give, Srila Prabhupada came to give. What was so attractive about Srila Prabhupada that he was able to bring so many people to Krishna consciousness? Of course, in America in the 1960s, an elderly Indian Swami might be something unusual, but it wasn't on the basis of that. Some kind of might have generated a little interest in some people, but that in itself is not enough to make anyone surrender their life. I was just listening to something spoken about by one of my godbrothers, Memories of Srila Prabhupada, Vedanta Krit Prabhu. I met him a few times. And he said, what impelled me to surrender? That was the word in those days. He said, surrender was the word in those days. What happened to the word surrender? So, why would people come to Srila Prabhupada? What was so attractive about? He was physically, never will be in this material world. The answer is that Srila Prabhupada what's the power? Krishna Shakti Bina Naheta Pravartan. He was empowered by Krishna to deliver bhakti. Bhaktis tu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate. Bhakti comes from the association of devotees. Those who have bhakti, they can communicate it. But we practically see how pride kills bhakti. It's opposite. The two things don't go together. Oil and water. You can shake. If you have in a bottle oil and water, you can shake the bottle, and artificially the oil and the water may seem to mix, but even at the molecular level, if you do an analysis of oil that's mixed with water, it never really mixes. As when you're cleaning the pots, you know that just by water you can't remove oil or ghee. It's a different kind of substance. So if someone has all good qualities, this verse, all the good qualities of Dvishada Guna Yuta, if one has all the 12 viprad vishadaguna yuta. If one is endowed with all the 12 qualities of a brahmana, but he's aravindanabha vimukha. Aravinda padaravinda vimukha. He's, what's the word? Vimukha. He's against, or not attached to, or the lotus talk about him so much as if he's something great. He picked up some little pebble called Govardhan Hill, and they're all praising him, and he chastised some little water snake called Kaliya. What are they making such a big fuss? But he couldn't stop thinking about Krishna. So in one sense he respected, but that's not devotional respect. So material qualities, you could say they can be used in preaching Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada was very much aware of that, which is one reason why he wanted Western disciples preaching in India, because the Indian people tend to respect Western people. The propaganda has gone deep into the Indian psyche that a white skin is better than a brown skin. So it is completely transcendental. It doesn't depend on any prior qualifications. And in fact, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Dinere adhikdaya kare bhagavan kulin pandit dhani dhaniya bharo abhiman. It may even, material qualifications can become a disqualification for bhakti, because if one becomes proud of that, then becomes disqualified for bhakti. So even if someone has all good qualities but not devotion, then it doesn't appear very attractive to a devotee. And if someone does bhakti, he is performing devotional service to Krishna, but even in doing everything properly, rising early and everything, chanting a prescribed number of rounds, preaching, but is proud, then it doesn't. Na shobhate jnanam alang niranjana. If one has got knowledge, but it's without pure devotion to Krishna, without a spirit of humility, if one is proud of it, then it's stand what Rupa Goswami says when he says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana kamadyanavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttama. The topmost devotion is that which is characterized by cultivation of devotional practices favorably for centered on Krishna, without cultivating any material desires for material enjoyment or liberation from this world. So Bhakti-Rag Thakur says it's very important to understand this, and therefore he gives an analysis of that. So someone who is performing bhakti but is seen to be very proud, they never really got the essence. They never really understand. And sometimes we become amazed at someone who is supposed to be practicing bhakti and maybe even successful in bringing others and holding festival, but they boast, and they're boasting about themselves and has various schemes and how to push himself up and push others down, won't recognize anyone else does anything good. He can't recognize. There's also the senior devotee syndrome, that one becomes little. He thought he would instruct even his own guru. He thought himself so great, and therefore that offense grew within his heart, so to the point where he made a point of regularly finding fault in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this whole Krishna conscious movement is for training people, for bringing people to the platform of pure devotion to Krishna. But that can't happen won't happen if there is pride. So we have to train these boys from the beginning. People often, well, what do you teach them? Do you teach them maths and science? And well, our curriculum is a bit different, and our aim is a bit different. Because our aim is not to make them a materialist, to make a devotee. So even the techniques that are taught, how to chant Hare Krishna, how to chant shlokas, the techniques are there, but the real aim, the real desired goal is that they should become pure devotees of Krishna. At least to have that feeling, I want to be a pure devotee, let me try. It may not, to be a pure devotee is a very high level, but at least that feeling that let me give this one life for Krishna. So of course the techniques are there, we teach them chanting shlokas, kirtan. If they learn from a young age, they can play mridanga well, they can learn the techniques. These are all techniques. And I've often said that we want that, well, of course, I said Srila Prabhupada himself, so simply repeating, they should have a taste for Krishna consciousness. They should have a taste for the holy name. If they have a taste for the holy name, then their time at Gurukul has been well spent. And it's seen that some of the boys who have been in our Gurukul, they've been for some years, they have taste for the holy name. They like to chant. But the real taste for the holy name, Harinama Ruchi, that will be seen after the kirtan, not during the kirtan. Because Srila Prabhupada stated that one can understand that someone's chanting, I'm paraphrasing here of course, someone's taste for chanting, the result of chanting, the effect of chanting is seen in how much one is enthusiastic in serving Krishna. So if one chants very nicely and even goes on for hours and hours, and we have to see, are they enthusiastic to serve? How's their japa? And you have taste for the holy name only when there's loud mridangas and banging cartels, but how about in japa also? That has to be seen. And what is the active principle of chanting? What is the chanting? What is there? Of course we pray, O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. So it's a prayer for service. A prayer for service means there has to be humility, not pride. To have pride in kirtan, oh, I'm doing kirtan so well, it's ridiculous, because the whole point of kirtan is to pray for service. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed that Jai Rupe Loile Nam Prema Upajai Taha Lakhan Shuno Swarup Ramrai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in which way one should take the name, in a manner that prem, love of Krishna, arises. Now just listen to that characteristic. Swarup and Ramrai, Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. Then what did in other words, how is chanting to be done so that Krishna prema will actually arise in the heart? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Chunadapi sunechana torori vasahishna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi. One should chant in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be ready to offer, one should tolerate all difficulties and be ready to offer respect to all, not desire respect for oneself. In such a way, in such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Of course, it's not surprising if someone becomes good at something, then they become proud. It's a very normal thing we see. But that is material. That's not spiritual. So it shouldn't happen with devotees. Devotee, if he becomes good at something, first thing he may not even notice. That, oh, now I'm so great. Now I can cook the best sabji, or I can play mridanga the best, or I can give the best lecture, or I got a big position. He may not even notice. Or others may be praising this and that. But a devotee, if at all he notices, then instead of becoming, he should become more humble. Not more proud. That's spiritual. Material means you become better than others, and you start thinking, oh, I'm so great. They're inferior. That's pride. Dambho, darpo, bhimanascha, krodha, parushamevacha. Agyana chabhijatasya partha sambhadam asuram. Pride is materialistic. It's the symptom of a demon. To be arrogant, proud, conceited. Then one starts speaking disparagingly and condescendingly to others. It's all based on ignorance. But a devotee should become more humble and think that, oh, I'm so unqualified. But still, somehow or other, Krishna is working through me. It's all the mercy of my Guru. We find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, what a compendium of pastimes and teachings, spiritual insight. It's incomparable, Chaitanya Charitamrita. But again and again throughout the work, Krishna's Kaviraj says that I'm just an instrument. This is being written by the mercy of my gurus, by the mercy of Nityananda, by the mercy of Madan Gopal. What do you say? Murkha, Nietzsche. In the third word, and then Vishaya Lalosh. He says, I'm foolish, I'm low, I'm desiring material enjoyment. He describes himself like that. Then how can I dare to write such a work? He said, it's simply by the mercy of the gurus. So it's their greatness. Somehow it's their kindness that they've decided to engage me. Not that just see I've become greater than others. Then one goes away. If one starts to think I'm better, then he goes away. Then his consciousness moves away from the source of that empowerment. Then he loses it, or it becomes material. Whereas if he becomes more humble, then becomes more close to Krishna, can get more mercy. Otherwise, we're teaching these boys, they may become competent. We want them to become competent in so many areas of devotional service. And not just the Gurukul boys, practically all our ashrams, they're Gurukuls. Even devotees living at home is supposed to be Grihastha ashram. It's all meant for training and teaching. So devotees should become competent in devotional activities, in Shravan Kirtan. There are techniques also. But if at all one becomes proud, then it all becomes useless. We find, it's not anything new, we find in the Chandogya Upanishad, it's described that after 12 years or something, the boy Shvetaketu came home after studying in the place of his guru. He studied for 12 years, intensive study of the Vedas, became expert in chanting the Vedas, so many things. Came home and his father immediately noticed, this boy's puffed up. Then he asked him, so, what do you know? He said, I know this, I know that. So, do you know? What do you know about that which is everywhere, which sustains everything? Yeah, I don't know that. Then he taught him Brahma Gyan. Similarly, we find Vallabhata described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna had given him some insights in which he could write a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. It must be coming from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. But he became proud on that behalf, on those grounds. And he thought that, Amito Bhagavat Shrishta Bhakani, I am the best explainer, expounder of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised him. But he had some mercy from Krishna to be able to explain the Bhagavatam. But then he became proud on that behalf. So humility comes with actual advancement. We want to see everyone become advanced in Krishna consciousness. Now, it is possible to train people in politeness, good manners. And some of our devotees, they put a lot of stress on good manners, politeness, speak with people in a pleasing way, which is good. That is cultured behavior. But that in and of itself does not necessarily constitute spiritual humility. It's quite possible to be very polite and to be very materialistic at the same time, and to be very polite while scheming how to destroy someone you're being very polite with, or to mislead them. Growing up in England, where people say the part of England I'm from, and well, especially Americans would think, oh, the British, they're very polite. But they don't know the culture, how subtly one may be speaking in a very polite way. But it's those who are British can understand that this person wants to, speaking like that, but very politely stabbing you in the back, and or very politely putting you down, or like this. So politeness is good, but it's not necessarily humility, and it's not a substitute for humility, actual spiritual humility. Real humility comes from actual advancement. Now, how can you measure that? It's not quantifiable, or measurable in the same way that you can measure the temperature of, for instance, water by putting a thermometer in it. You can measure the length, so the length by putting a ruler or a measure against it. But humility, how can you measure it? What is the measure? Well, we can maybe measure ourselves. Here's the Humbleometer. That just like Drona, he once sent both Yudhishthira and Duryodhana out. So he told Yudhishthira, you go out and you tell me, you look around and tell me how many bad people you find. And Duryodhana, you go out and tell me how many good people you find. So they both came back and said, didn't find anyone. So, how many devotees do we look up to with reverence and consider them advanced? We can learn from them, we can benefit from their association, And how many do we think that, they're just all useless, they're all rubbish, nonsense, and I don't have anything to learn from them, I'm better than them. We can look in our own heart and see. Of course, humility is to be applied with discrimination. Not that in the name of humility we accept all kinds of nonsense, or we don't make a philosophical distinction between what is pure devotional service and what isn't, or we accept a charade, abhinayam, of humility, to be actual humility. It's easier to play act than to actually be devotee. But if we're sincerely trying to advance in devotional service, then we'll naturally gravitate toward, and we'll take pleasure in the association of devotees who are themselves simply trying to humbly serve. Humility doesn't mean to make a big show of groveling on the ground and saying, I am your servant again and again, but the attitude of applying ourselves in devotional service, giving respect to others, again, giving respect. We don't have to go through a big drama of giving respect, but just in our attitude, in personal dealings. So it's a pleasure to associate with such devotees, and it's a headache to associate with those who are always boasting, promoting themselves, even in the name of devotional service, trying to show themselves better, making some kind of scheme to push themselves forward. They may be expert in so many things, but it's all the time when you're with them, you always have to. It's like playing a psychological chess game or something. What are they planning? They said that, but what do they really mean? And just be honest and straightforward and tell we're here to serve Krishna together. It's not unusual for sadhus to be proud, within ISKCON or not within ISKCON or whatever, because people tend to respect them for their good qualities, and if they're actually sadhus, then they have quality. They are above other people in many ways. They're not acting in a grossly materialistic way. They're above the pettiness of trying to get lots of money and enjoy sense gratification. So they themselves may say, yes, I'm superior, but it's very, very dangerous, because pride destroys any spiritual advancement. It's very unpleasant and unbefitting if someone who's supposed to be a sadhu is very proud. Sada dhammam hitva raghunatha. First of all, always give up pride. And don't think, I'm so great. We're all just little ants at best. We're tiny little creatures. It's good for us to hear the Bhagavatam, hear about actual devotees, Ambarish, Dhruva, Prahlad, these great devotees, hear the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I shouldn't say we're all, I should say I am. You're all great devotees. See, I'm not at all humble, but if we consider what is our position, we're at all able to do devotional service. Standing up, does that mean a question? Or he's eager to rush out for prasadam? All right, it's a straightforward topic. It's not difficult to understand, but we need to discuss it again and again, because it's easy to chant the verse, Chunadapi sunichena tororiva sahishnana amanina amanadena kirtaniya sadai. Easy to chant. But due to being conditioned in this material world for life after life, it's not so easy to Chitete Korea Aikya, to make it one with our heart. So we should discuss again and again.